welcome to another episode of Stripped to the Soul podcast. Today, I wanted to really talk about something that I have personally been reflecting deeply on the past week, and it's something that I know we all move through and go through, but it's something I'm personally journeying on right now, and I'm such a deep thinker, and I've been, really sitting with it a lot, but how to stop letting our past define us. Whether you have regrets or it's missed opportunities or a history maybe you'd rather forget or you wish you could just delete from your life, it's like, how do you make peace with it, not only within yourself, but how do you also stop hiding from it and hiding the world from it? So instead, I want to talk about how we can embrace our past and how we can potentially learn to accept it and learn from it and make it a part of our story, because our stories are so individually powerful. And I truly learned this through my book writing process. Like, no one else is you. And it is in our past and it is in these regrets or these mistakes that we really learn and become this version of us that we are now. But it doesn't always make it any easier. And this is what I've been processing recently and going through as I have reflected on many of my last decisions I've made, past decisions I've made, choices I made when I was younger that I maybe necessarily wouldn't choose now, or things that I did that I may regret. And how do we accept them in this current season of life and also not let them, change how we view ourselves or change how we feel others potentially view us, because we all are going to have things that maybe we wish we did differently or we learn from, and although we can't change the past, we can change how we feel about it. And I think it is a beautiful thing to start looking inwards at these things that we also hide from ourselves. So the first thing I want to talk about is why the past has such a grip on us, because this is something I was sitting with within myself. It's like, why does this thing have such a chokehold on me? And why do we let the things that happened years ago, continue to influence our present and our future? Because something came up for me about my past very recently, within the last week or so. And it really got to me. And when it got to me, I chose to sit with it and reflect on why this is bothering me so much. And I think one of the main reasons is regret. We all have them. And we have regrets about things we did, potentially things we didn't do. And regret is powerful because it does make us wonder, what if I had done things differently? It's so easy to get trapped in that cycle of what if, imagining how life could have been. Maybe it's you regret a career choice, a relationship that ended, or a decision that led you down a path that you wish you hadn't taken. And this is my personal journey. And although I can look back in hindsight and, I can see how, although I do have regrets, it maybe helped me get to where I am. I think that's a beautiful thing that I'm going to discuss later. It doesn't take away from the fact that there is an element of regret still there. Another reason that the past has such power over us is because of shame. We might be ashamed of the mistakes we made and the choices we took, or potentially the person we became or used to be. And shame thrives in secrecy. And so when we hide parts of ourselves, it does give that shame more power within us, because we're the ones who are holding on to it. And I found through also sharing it, that shame that I held within came up. And it wasn't that the other person was potentially projecting this. It was that own shame within myself. And also the fear of being judged, the fear of repeating the same mistakes, fears that maybe that's who we are, we haven't changed, or someone will judge us for the way we used to be. And the more we focus on what's behind us, the harder it is for us to look forward at the possibilities of what lies ahead, or to really see who we are in this very moment. But here's the truth. The past only has as much power as we allow it to have and how much we accept it within ourselves, right? Because if we've fully accepted something and integrated it and, made peace with it, that shame won't come up. That fear doesn't come up, of what someone else is going to think, or the judgment, or will someone leave me, or will they not look at me the same? Like, none of this matters once you have done that work within yourself. And so that's what I wanted to talk about in today's episode. So yeah, how do we break free from this? That is the question, because we all have these things. Like I said, like, we have this past, and how do we break free so it doesn't define us? And how do we move from a place of, being defined by our past to simply acknowledging it as part of who we are? And when I started writing my book process, because I was writing a memoir on a journey, a big chapter in my life, I was really having to go into different moments and, meetings with people and decisions I've made, and really reflect and see how they all, were these choices that I made that, yes, brought me to where I am now, but also were a part of my journey, and also something that I had control over. So how do we break free from these things? It's one, embracing it. And I know that it's easier said than done, but during this writing process, I really had to embrace the journey of me. And embracing the past doesn't mean you have to love it or celebrate it. It just simply means recognizing that it happened and that it is a part of your story and that it has contributed to who you are today. And I really came to peace within, that process of myself, of seeing my story and seeing without all those things, like, I wouldn't be this amazing version of me. But denying your past is kind of like denying a part of yourself. And you don't have to approve of everything that you did or everything that happened to you. But the peace that you are seeking is in the acceptance that it was a part of your journey. And that is a really hard pill for me to swallow, because I am not proud of the decisions I've made. I made choices from a place of scarcity. I have made choices from a place of lack. I opted for, things that gave me immediate security, and, maybe were things that I really needed in that moment. And this might not be something that everyone will ever have to understand, or maybe people won't be in the same, positions that I was in. Doesn't mean I made the right decision. No, it doesn't. Maybe there was another option, but at the time, that was the option that I chose, or that I saw or thought was possible. And, I don't have to love that. We don't have to love the part of us that hurt someone, or love the part of us that hurt ourselves, or denied ourselves, or were mean to ourselves. Like, we don't have to love that, but we can have love for the journey that we went on as a result of it. We also have to release the need for perfection. And I'm so guilty of this, especially when it comes to relationships, because I want to be that perfect partner for someone. I want to be that wifey and, the dream woman. And I sometimes feel that because I have a past and I've made decisions that I don't love, that it kind of taints that perfect person that I wish I could be. And there's not much I can do about it because it is in the past. And our regrets stem from this unrealistic expectation that we should have known better or done better. One of my favorite quotes from Maya Angelou: when you know better, you do better. But the reality is, we were doing the best we could with the information and skills that we had at the time, or within the situation that we were in. And it's time to start giving ourselves more permission to be a little bit more human, and to know that we make these mistakes to stumble and to grow and to learn from. And not only learn from, but also be that map for someone else. That sometimes we have to go on these painful journeys, or we make these bad decisions in life, bad in brackets, but we make these decisions in life, and then we get to be the person that helps someone else not make that decision. I know my daughter is going to be so lucky because I'm going to be her mother, and I'm going to be able to help her. Just as I have been so lucky to have my mom, be that, strong figure in my life, and give me that, sense of empowered, like you can do anything if you set your mind to it. Like we get gifted these things from other people. And I know that humbly through the mistakes that I have made and the choices that I've made, I will be able to help someone else be a better woman or a better person as a result of it. And the other thing that, really, really came up for me when I was navigating this, past stuff coming up in the last week was to tell your story honestly. If not to the world, but at least to yourself. Like, stop hiding the parts of you that you wish weren't there. Hiding pieces of your story is hiding parts of who you are. And how is someone ever going to get to know the true you if you are lying to yourself and hiding parts of yourself and then hiding it from that person? That person's never going to be able to fully connect to you, or someone might just not trust you, or they might not get the full idea of who you truly are. Because being honest with yourself about your past, like even the messy and painful parts, is the first step in freeing yourself from its grip. And when you tell your story, you own it. And when you own it, it no longer owns you. I'm going to say that again. When you tell your story, you own it. Because when you own it, it no longer owns you. And that in itself is so powerful to recognize, that when you own your story, you back the decisions you made and say, you know what, I wouldn't make them now, but I made it then. And I'm proud of the woman I became as a result of it, or I'm proud of the man that I became. And I'm not proud of my decisions, but because of them, I'm now the very best version of myself. And being able to say that with truth and confidence is something that no one will be able to take from you. And these regrets, right? How do we turn these regrets into lessons? Because boy, I have a lot of regrets. So many regrets. They deeply, are scarred in me. These choices I've made, these paths that I walked, whatever it is, it's been a journey of transmuting it into lessons, and not even just a lesson, a blessing, like seeing it as a blessing for my life. And what if I told you, honestly, from my heart, that your regrets are actually your greatest teachers? And I know it's cliche, but it's also true. And I know that to be true, because every regret holds a lesson. Maybe if you regret not standing up for yourself in a situation, that regret can teach you the value of self-worth and courage to speak up. I did that in relationships. I didn't speak up for myself. And through that, I can look back in hindsight and see how by not speaking up for myself, I had to look at myself and really dig deep and find that sense of self-worth within myself as a woman, to actually voice what it is I want and what it is that I deserve, and also have the courage to take up the space or to walk away. And maybe you did walk away and you regret letting a relationship go. It can teach you the importance of communication, of how you could have communicated better, how you can communicate better, vulnerability of just really showing someone who you are, and allowing your flaws or your true self to be seen, and or forgiveness, and this forgiveness that you have for yourself, and really seeing the lesson in that, and how you had to learn how to forgive yourself before you can learn how to forgive someone else. Because regrets aren't there to torment you. They're there to show you, you value on what you would do differently in the future. And they're there to teach you on how to be a better person moving forward. And the key to learning from your past is to be curious instead of judgmental. Instead of asking, why did I make such a stupid decision, or why did I choose that? You can ask, what did I learn from that experience? This shift from judgment of self to curiosity is the way that we get to know ourselves better. And it's a way that we get to know our souls. It allows you to see your past as like a series of lessons rather than a series of mistakes, and not to see yourself as this mistake or this person who's so, wrong or has made all these choices. And if you had just not chosen those things, you'd be better. This is not truth. And once you learn the lesson, you can let the regret go. You can release it. And there's no need to hold on it to it forever. Yes, these things will be with you forever. They're a part of your journey, but you did the work on yourself. You've taken that wisdom, and then you get to leave the pain behind. So your past doesn't define you, but it does shape you. And there is a difference. Instead of seeing your past as this chain that binds you, or, this chokehold that you're in, see it as a roadmap, as it shows you where you've been. It is the story of you. It's the obstacles you overcame and the victories you celebrated. Like every twist, turn, up, down, detour, it's added to your story. It's added to your depth of character and your resilience. And I know I am a very interesting person because of my past. Now, would I, in ways want to change things? Yes, absolutely. I do have big regrets in life. But also, they make me. They make my story unique and different, and they are a part of who I am. And the right people will be curious to get to know you. They're not going to judge you. They're going to want to understand what led you to make those decisions. How did you get out of those circumstances? What did you learn because of it? And one of the most liberating things you can do is stop compartmentalizing your past. Integrate it. Like, stop putting this part of your journey over here and this part of your journey over there and this version of yourself. Like, accept that it's all a part of your story. And I have definitely looked at different journeys and chapters of my life and tried to put them in different boxes. But when you can just get a more sort of holistic view on yourself, people will just see you for you, right? And not for these different versions of you. And it doesn't mean we have to be, sharing our past with everyone. It's like sharing it with the right people, and the right people will see you. And you'd be really surprised. I've been surprised with how sharing your story can empower others and help others. Like, I always found that I did quote unquote well on social media, or something performed well, or people resonated me, was when I was super vulnerable. When I shared about my struggles with eating, or when I felt lost in life, or maybe down, or even my podcast episode recently about, when life falls apart. It's one of my best episodes. And it was just me being honest. And when you're honest about your journey, it inspires other people to be honest about theirs, maybe even just to themselves. And embracing your past, like, you give others permission to embrace theirs. And suddenly you're not weighed down so much by secrets or regrets. And instead, you're allowing someone and inviting someone in to, see you and feel you, and you can connect to them and get to know them. Or even if it's something that you're doing within yourself and really seeing that within yourself, you'll begin to feel a little bit more free and, less kind of, shame-ridden or embarrassed by those pieces and parts of you. Because if someone is judging you, it's that's them. That's the way they're seeing it, right? It's not your truth. And I've had to learn this, that, when there's been judgment on social media, I've been judged for things. I've told people things about myself, and I have felt the judgment. It's nothing that they've said. It's an energy, it's a feeling, and it's recognizing that, it's not what you see, it's how you see it, right? And, it's our journey to accept those things within ourselves. It's not our journey to help others figure that out, right? That's on them. And you want to be surrounding yourself with people who see you for who you are now. Because it is time to, focus on the now and look forward in your life. And it's not to deny the past or with the goal of leaving the past behind, but with the desire of integrating it into the person that you have become or are becoming. Because your past is a chapter in your book. And I say this because I wrote my book, but it's not the whole story. Because my book is a large chapter of a period of my life, but it's not my future, right? Each one of us has the power to write the next chapter, to write the next page, to write the next word. And the next is up to you. You decide how you want to move forward. Let your past be a source of wisdom and not a source of shame. And I've had to deal with this. I had shame come up this past week, really, of, feeling like, wow, someone's going to judge me for something, or they've already judged me and they've already made up this idea of me based off my past because they know my past and they don't know the present version of me. I think that's quite hard. Sometimes I feel like someone might know the past or know something from my past and not actually get to know me now and already have an idea about me, and that kills me inside, because that's not the Jade that's done all this work on herself for 5 years, all the therapy, all the ayahuasca, all the inner work, like all the, processing. It's like, that's not me. And so I find it difficult when I feel like someone's maybe pre-conceptualized me and not got to know the real me. But also I have to trust that the right people will want to get to know the real me now. So if you're also struggling with this, like, try just take it one step at a time. Start to write down your story, even if it's just for you. This for me was a really powerful way to see my past in a different light and see it from this like wiser Jade perspective, and start to reflect on what you've learned and what you're ready to not necessarily let go of, but put it down, right? It doesn't have to be something that you carry so tightly to you, because it's not about erasing it. It's embracing it and accepting it and letting it inform a better, more authentic you in the future. So yeah, I hope being vulnerable and kind of helped you a little bit see parts of yourself and see parts of your story, and shown you that it's not all bad, right? Yes, we make decisions we regret, but we have to trust that the right people will see the real us, and we'll see all these things in our past as a part of our journey, and not just other people, but we can see that within ourselves as well. So I really hope this resonated with you in some way. Remember, you are more than your past. You are who you choose to become. So I love you lots. Until next time, keep moving forward and stay true to you. Bye.